I've done a deep analysis on all of the major market cap cryptos through the years, from when they first launched through December of 2023. And in this comparative analysis of Bitcoin, we have Ethereum, XRP, Doge, Chainlink, and Solana. I find some really interesting information. And as 2024 comes to an end and we enter January, I will be updating the data on this spreadsheet. However, this list is quite interesting and what I found will shock you. But with XRP's recent performance this year, I'm excited to see what the data will show and how you can apply it moving forward. Also, before I share what's on this data sheet, I'll preemptively let you know it might look and feel confusing for many viewers, but I'll do my best to break it down in this video and simplify it for you so you understand the information that I'm actually sharing and then how you can best apply it or think about it. I'll also be covering the most recent price action on XRP, the hard pump up to 290, and the crazy volatility we just experienced this morning and what caused it. I'll be diving into some on-chain analytics and wallets and holders. I'll be sharing perpetual futures contracts, open interest, and what this data can tell us about what investors are currently doing right now. And by the end of this video, I'll give you my personal read on XRP, what happens next, when to enter the market if you want to add to your position or haven't already. And here's the deal, guys. Before we begin the video, none of what I share is intended to be financial advice. Investing in crypto is risky. I'm just sharing my opinions, and this video is for informational and educational purposes only. So with that said, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. Hello and welcome back to the Bull Runners channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul and you can find me on Twitter or X at PaulyDeFi. Now, if you've been paying attention, and I believe everyone has recently, to XRP, as XRP has been on an absolute tear, consistently putting in higher highs, higher lows, consistently outperforming the rest of the market and basically sucking the liquidity out of everything as it pumped from under $2 all the way up to $2.86. Now, here's the reality. More often than not, when you see trends this strong, you might be tempted to sell or take some profits off the table. And I would argue if this is life-changing money for you, you never know what's going to happen next in markets, and especially in crypto where things can get very volatile very quickly. So why not take a little bit off the table? Now, that again is not me telling you should sell. I believe we're going higher for longer. However, we are going to experience a bit of volatility in between. And this morning we really did. So we saw a high price of $2.86. However, we saw that the bars failed to close above 270. And we seemed to have a pretty strong support between $2.50 up to $2.61. Now, I'm going to play the bar chart very slowly and what actually happened, and then we're going to talk about what happened. Then we're going to get into some of that data that I shared that will shock you. And then finally, we'll look at some on-chain analytics, metrics, and what I think is going to happen next with XRP. So here it is. So we failed to break out. We broke right back below this range. And as you can see here, the market rallied really strong in the morning. A lot of folks probably bought into this range right here, and I'll go ahead and pause it here in a second. On the breakout above 277, I'm assuming quite a few folks bought this pump, and then the market dumped really hard from 290 all the way down to 227, and this caused a lot of liquidations. Again, something that we're going to look at here shortly. However, since that point in time, the market has now failed to break back above this range. So I'll just put a line right here where we had a support, a potential bear trap, and then with all of this volatility, a bull trap and some sell pressure that happened right here at the 260 some cent range. And the market is breaking back down to $2.53. So yes, I do believe this is officially a new intermediate term or even a short-term downtrend. As you can see, again, we had a support right here. We broke out above only to break right back down, and now we are selling off. Now, really, the reality is what actually caused this type of volatility on something like XRP? Well, obviously, when you're getting some insane rallies, you're going to experience volatility when there's leverage. But Korea is one of the biggest markets that really supports and loves XRP. And back in 2018, Korea is actually what maintained that bull run and put XRP at the top of the charts and allowed for it to pump to $3.31 and sometimes even $3.80 on a few minor exchanges. Well, we'll talk about Korean exchanges here in a second. However, what caused all of this volatility was the fact that South Korea's leader declared martial law. And his name is President Yoon Suk Yeol, and he declared martial law, and it's been more than 40 years when the country was controlled by dictatorship and martial law was first declared. Now, his excuse was the fact that it was a specter of North Korea as a destabilizing force. However, the whole nation was in disarray and their parliament voted, and every single person in parliament voted against the martial law, and it ended promptly thereafter around 4:30 a.m. Now, this caused all sorts of volatility in crypto markets as well, as the Bitcoin kimchi premium hit an all-time low. This is the Korean premium for Bitcoin, and he was basically stating that Bitcoin typically would go up in times of political instability. However, everyone that was buying Bitcoin throughout this process ended up just selling Bitcoin when the markets were in true disarray over in Korea. And yes, this event also affected XRP, as Upbit is South Korea's biggest exchange, and they even announced that they were suspending withdrawals on XRP. Then South Korea declared martial law, and you had that strong pump and then a major dump. So the real question is, what's actually going to happen next with XRP? Are we going to break out to a new all-time high anytime soon, or are we going to experience a bit of a downtrend now? Well, right here, I have trending coins over at Santiment, and this is obviously a paid product. So for those of you guys who don't want to spend the money on an analytics tool like this, totally fine. This is why you have the channel. As you can see here, today is December 3rd. And right here we have XRP again, #1 trending. On the right hand side, you'll see that it is negative sentiment of 34.63%. And over the last 4 to 5 days, XRP has ranked at #1 in terms of trending tokens. So if I go to December 2nd, right here, you can see that at one point in time, there was less negative sentiment the day before. And again, the day before, there was even less negative sentiment. And again, the day before, less negative sentiment. And over and over and over again, you see that there was greater positive sentiment while there was less negative sentiment since November 29th. But since that point in time, negative sentiment has consistently increased. As the price put in some new all-time highs, we saw more leverage enter the system. We saw that nasty spike in volatility, and who wouldn't be a bit skittish when you see 5 straight weeks of up only. Now, the reality is up only doesn't really scare me with something like XRP, because the data consistently shows that it typically outperforms everything else for a period of a week or two at a time, especially in its largest weeks. Again, we're going to look into that data here in a second, but if you've been enjoying the video so far, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you want to become a crypto millionaire in 2025, again, something that we cannot guarantee that's going to happen for you. However, we're going to do our best to help you reach that goal with our brand new platform called Altcoin Pro University. Here is a 26-minute video that explains exactly what you get on the other side. And all you have to do to get to this website is go to bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description right below this video. Now, since yesterday, when I was mentioning this, I think we had like 550 members. We're currently sitting at 621 members. When we hit, and this was literally a day ago, it's crazy, but when we hit that 1,000 member mark, all of the bonuses are going to run dry. In other words, you will no longer get access to the bonuses. We've had this thing live for about 2.5 to 3 weeks now, and the bull run is just getting started. So yes, the spots are going to fill up quick, and then we are going to also raise the prices. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you and you want access to our 100+ hours of expert curated content, you want to learn how to do technical analysis like a pro, you want weekly and daily altcoin picks that'll be 5x's, 10x's, 100x's, some of them, and we show you over and over and over again exactly how we accomplish those results. We have the best community in all of XRP and arguably crypto. We teach you exactly how to take advantage of the best DeFi yield farms. In other words, how to put your crypto to work for you so you can earn interest on it, and even give you airdrop alerts. Everything you need to become an expert in crypto and to hit that fabled goal of being a crypto millionaire is right here inside of Altcoin Pro University, and you can find the link at bullrunners.com. So go ahead and do that right now if that sounds interesting to you, because again, we are gonna fill up quick. Now let's get back into the video. Okay, so before we get into this specific document or sheet, I don't want you to get confused because there's a lot of data and information on here. Really what I want to focus on is this one column right here called the largest weekly gain on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then XRP, considering they are the largest cryptos by market cap currently, Bitcoin being number 1, Ethereum number 2, and now XRP at number 3, surpassing Tether, Solana, BNB when it was at rank number 7. Now this is really interesting. As you can see here, back in 2010, the largest weekly gain for Bitcoin was about 615%. And that would make sense. It was literally one of the only cryptos in the space. Since that point in time, the weekly gains have consistently declined on average because of the law of diminishing returns. So in 2023, the largest weekly gain was 26%. The average from 2014 to 2023 was about 26%. When you look at Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin at an average of 34.95% from 2017 to 2023. XRP, however, consistently outperforms both Bitcoin and Ethereum from a weekly percentage gain. As you can see here, since 2018, it was 68.95%, and the average for all years was 134%. In other words, when XRP is ready to blow off the top of this lid, or better yet, break out of a range, it is a violent move. And that's exactly what we saw here. So if anything, the moves that we recently saw are very typical for XRP relative to something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and the data proves it, which means a move like this isn't necessarily scary for me. It's just confirming that we are now trending. And if you are a little bit afraid, maybe now is not a bad time to take a little off the table. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your portfolio. However, I do believe this is the start of a new major trend for XRP, considering we just broke out of a descending wedge over the last 6.8 years. And we are going to have a very crypto-friendly environment in the United States for the very first time. So what's going to happen next for XRP? Well, let's look at some on-chain analytics. Here I have a yellow line that is an indicator of the total amount of tokens in a wallet that would contain anywhere between 0.1 to 100,000 XRP tokens. So as you can see here, when this thing is climbing, this is indicative of typical retailers that can afford between 1 XRP at about $2 right now, or just $250, all the way up to $250,000 of XRP. And yes, there are retail investors that have that. I wouldn't consider that a major investor or an institutional player. I know grandparents that can do that. Whenever this thing starts to increase, it means that they are buying and holding. Whenever it starts to decrease, it means they are selling. And into these major rallies, you can see that there were a lot of profit takers. Maybe they bought a long time ago and they were just waiting for that first major pump before getting out and breaking even. But at one point right around here, retailers, as the price was sitting at about $1.40 all the way down to $1.31, started to increase their holdings again. And that could be due to FOMO. It could be to the fact that maybe they thought they sold too early here and now they're pissed off that they didn't hold longer. And so they started to accumulate. But into these ranges right up here at about $2.20 some cents up to $2.80, you can see that they really started dumping their bags and portfolios. So this can be indicative of a new start to a new trend. However, I don't think that these types of investors really move markets. The ones that typically do would be the ones that hold a lot more tokens. So yes, I'm going to go into the 1 million to 10 million coins. And as you can see here, this entire time, the entire trend, bigger players and institutional players have been accumulating XRP. So what is it that they know that we don't? Heck, you can even toss this line in here. And as you can see here on from this little dump recently, they even accumulated, although they did sell into this major rally. So now they are accumulating while retailers, even though it's not, as much as it was back here, but the entire range they've been accumulating, retailers have been dumping while bigger investors just accumulated. They were holding about 6.87 billion tokens, and now they are holding 7.03 billion tokens. And it's remained flat since that all-time high. Now again, these are investors that hold between 10 million to 100 million coins, so that is a stupid amount of tokens, and that is an insane amount of money. And I believe these types of players don't play the same way you and I do, considering they really have to think about liquidity on exchanges like Binance. However, when I add all of these lines up, retailers selling while the bigger players are holding or accumulating is a very good sign. And although we may get an intermediate term downtrend, I think this is going to be the type of support that's going to take us to new all-time highs. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the perpetual futures market. Currently, we're sitting on a 30-minute time frame, and this is Binance data, so it is pretty accurate and solid. That said, whenever you start to get a trend in the price or an uptrend, and you also get an uptrend in open interest like this is confirming that longs are opening at the market. This is very bullish news and essentially acts as a confirmation that the trend is legit, especially when we're talking about people that like to play with leverage and those higher risk traders that can create for a lot of liquidations to the upside or downside, what we call cascading liquidations. However, when you start to see open interest like this start to decline, that means something is now changing. Now, in this case, it started to decline before we got that recent all-time high, but as you can see here, the price has now been declining in this range while open interest is also declining. And when you get price declining and open interest declining at the same time, this means now those longs are closing. And we actually saw the exact same thing happen here. You can see right here when we hit that $1.60 range, right? Open interest increase, price increase. Then price starts to decline, open interest also declines, and it took a little while for us to break above the range of about $1.58. So it is possible and potential now the market needs some more time to reset itself for it to build some sort of a support or even to pull back a bit. In other words, for those of you who've been waiting for a buy opportunity that looks better than it did yesterday or the day before, this might actually be your shot. We might get some lower lows now and some good entries, which I will cover here shortly. So this said, let's look at the XRP chart, and here we have our old price ranges. If we fail to break above $2.90 here in the near future, and whether that comes in a week or two or very soon, and I would prefer a few weeks because that would give it time to reset and build up some strength. However, if we fail to do that, then it does truly look like we are in a new downtrend, as we'll now have a series of lower lows and lower highs, and really it would have started right around here. But already this was our range low, this is our next low, and this is our next range high. So this would indicate that if we fail to break above $2.60 some cents right here, then chances are we are going to put in a new lower low than our previous low at about $2.28. This is just a fancy way for me to say it's ready for this thing to cool off, and this might provide many of us some better opportunities to enter the market. My next support would be somewhere in the range of $2.26 again, all the way down to $2.18. And we could potentially bounce there, right? Just bounce a little, or maybe even violently, considering there's a lot of interest right now in XRP. However, if we fail to put in a new high or break above 260 at some point here in the near future, then yes, we're probably going lower. So how low could XRP go? And should you think about selling? Will it ever break to a new all-time high? Well, I'll give you that prediction here in a second, but I'm going to first remove these drawings just so we have a better view of the chart. Currently, I'm on an hourly time frame. I'm going to move up to a daily time frame. And as you can see here from that low, this thing has been absolutely parabolic. And this is something that they call the banana zone over at Real Vision, okay? It's when things start to banana. They literally look parabolic like that. That said, I'm going to pull up a 10 and 20 EMA. Keep things very simple, guys. I use horizontal supports and resistances. I look at the trend. I typically bet with the trend. I use a few EMAs and volume to confirm a move. That said, a pullback below that range low of about $2.28 cents should take us to about $2.08 for our first support. But considering this thing has rallied so hard, I could actually see more of a pullback down to about $1.70, which would be the 20 EMA. And as you can see here, these have deviated quite strongly, right? This one is further away at one point in time than, for example, back here in the beginning. When these bands are really tight like this and you start to get a break into a new high territory like we did right back here, this is indicative of strength and maybe a potential major rally, which actually did happen. But when you get a rally this big and then you start to get a new intermediate or short-term downtrend, it looks like things might actually pull back. So again, my first major support that I'll be looking out for is about 208. I'm not going to buy on the first touch either. I want to see some candle that looks like this, a bullish engulfing candle, because it is possible that on that first touch, like we did right back here, that we continue trending down. So I don't want to see that. I want to see a bullish engulfing candle like we did right here, where the candle right next to it is actually bigger and engulfing the prior candle. So if we start to break down and we don't get support there, then we'll continue breaking down. And again, I'd wait for a bullish engulfing candle somewhere in that range before buying that strength into the next major move up. So that is my personal pullback zone. And again, when you get a trend this strong, there's obviously interest. People are waiting for a better place to buy. And when there are no new buyers, you must have sellers. So that's what I think is going to happen over the upcoming week. Now, that said, if you are a longer term investor or a holder, I don't recommend trying to make these types of trades, because already, even at $1.70, you're massively in profit, and it's no fun to see your portfolio go down in value. But what sucks even more is selling and then not re-entering, or having less of a position, which gets you emotional, and then you miss that next major move and rally to the upside. Now, my first major target is going to be obviously that $3.31 range, but that's just because we already have that as a previous all-time high. My new all-time high zone is going to be about $5 to $5.25. Then the next major zone would be $8 to $11. But because those are so far off right now, I don't want to just tell you $8 and $11 is exactly it. However, when I do the math, I think that sounds very realistic and possibly potential, considering this was one of the strongest rallies I've seen in an altcoin in quite some time, especially as a major market cap altcoin. And if we pulled back to that $1.70 range, I mean, you do the math, you're still up 550% at $11. And that would be an insanely large market cap. So every $100,000 you toss in, you'd be sitting on $600,050 or whatever. You know, if you're sitting on $10,000, do the math again, 60 some thousand dollars. So at the end of the day, this is still a really big potential gain and a lot of upside from crypto investors in a safer manner, considering XRP is not going anywhere. And if anything, the new regulatory environment and just the start of the year with these rallies is going to take XRP to new all-time highs. I'm very confident in that. The real question is, where is that next all-time high? And so we just have to watch the price closely. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel so you can watch those videos that we cover daily and live on this price action and on this chart as we close out the year and enter 2025, which I'm going to be deeming the year of crypto. So if you enjoyed the video and you learned something new and you don't want to miss out on those bonuses that we recently talked about, we now have 624 members at Altcoin Pro University. This is a very strong community, and our goal is to help you to become a crypto millionaire this year. The bonuses will no longer be available, and we'll be raising the prices at 1,000 members. So if that sounds interesting to you, you have questions, you just simply want to learn more, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by heading over to bullrunners.com. The link is in the description below, and there's a 26-minute video that explains everything you get on the other side. So thanks so much for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, it helps us out. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, my friend.